Welcome back. Look, the murder of a loved one is hard enough news to handle, but it can be even more devastating for families and communities when the case goes unsolved.
Yeah, so locally there is one organization that is really working to help these families, and joining us now is Ryan Backman. He is the founder and executive director of Project Cold Case, and he is joined by Bobby Farah. Thank you guys for being here. Bobby, let's start with you. This is 40-some years in the making. This is about the murder of your father.
That's correct.
So for people who don't know what happened, tell us what happened.
Basically, he went to work, you know, it was I believe it was a Wednesday afternoon, and I was only 6, so I'm giving you my best recollection here. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a gentleman approached the counter with some items and demanded cash, and from there it just escalated. My dad was shot, later died at the hospital. Back then, technology isn't anywhere near what it is today.
Yeah.
And I asked about, kind of in '98, I started the wheels, and they just didn't take me very far. And then in December of '16, Dan Jansen from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office came in for lunch at the restaurant, Joey's, and the Southern Grill. And I mentioned it to him, and he's like, "Man, I never knew your dad was murdered. I've known you forever, you know." I said, "Can you help?" And he's like, "Maybe," you know. So process started, boom, here we are. You know, it's been a roller coaster the past several months. You know, met with Ryan. They profiled my dad's case in April. Sat my mom and family down in April at Easter time. Said, "Look, something's going on. I'm not dumb. I don't know how big this thing is, but something's happening, and just be prepared." And my mom kind of just said, "You know, it's been 43 years. What do you think you're going to find?" You know, and here we are today.
And Ryan, Project Cold Case, somehow with the help of you guys and obviously the detectives who had started looking into it, somehow a piece of evidence and the technology with the fingerprints.
Yeah, we've developed a really good relationship with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and if families like Bobby's come in and ask for them to look at a case, a lot of times they'll refer them to us as, you know, peer advocacy and support, and then they'll feed us, you know, the case information to publicize on our website and social media, hoping that maybe it'll generate some new interest and some leads and tips. In this case, you know, they submitted it to us, and in the meantime, in the background, they were running with fingerprints, you know, that the technology had finally caught up with. And so we kind of, you know, were in the right place at the right time, helping the family, which was advocacy was our main goal. And in the meantime, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is doing a wonderful job, and made the arrest.
And made an arrest in Louisiana. It's amazing the technology that you guys kept pushing it, and it was the fingerprints, right? Something had been left, like the icing or whatever that was on the counter. He had put his fingers on that, and you ran it through the system, and it came out. What do you want people to know? It has to go through the legal process, and it's just, you know, this arrest was made in May. I know there's a long way to get through it.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind through all of this after 40-some years? And what do you want people who might be watching who are experiencing cold cases themselves?
Yes.
Ryan, we'll get into your story in a second. What do you want them to know?
Just never give up, you know, until they tell you to stop asking or stop looking, you know, keep asking, because you just never know. I mean, who would have imagined 43 years later that their arrest would have been made, you know? I knew somebody was out there that was responsible, but maybe that person may not have been available anymore, may have left this earth, you know, to deal with another source. But, you know.
It was the oldest cold case in Jacksonville. And Ryan, to bring you in to talk about your story, that one of the passions, Bobby, you said to me the other day was that the closure you feel is something you want to help others attain. And that's exactly why you started Project Cold Case, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my dad was murdered in 2009 here in Jacksonville, and it quickly went cold. And I was looking for somewhere to direct those emotions and that grief that I had, and I found that helping other people was the best way for me to cope and heal and move forward through my journey. And so I volunteered at organizations that helped other families, and then as the years went by and I started making more contacts with unsolved cases and their families, I realized this was something that needed to happen. There needed to be a specific organization focused on the unsolved cases, and so that's what we, you know, incorporated in 2015, and trying to help ever since.
Ryan, while we have the cameras on, let's just take the opportunity to talk about your father's cold case.
Sure.
I guess you never know, right, Bobby?
Absolutely.
You keep hope alive. Something may happen. So what happened to your father?
Yeah, so 2009, October 10th, he was working on a construction site on Bonneville Road, Jacksonville South Side, and someone walked in and shot him in the back while he was working. He lived long enough to call 911 and give a brief description of the killer, but there was no physical evidence at the scene. The door was propped open, so there was no fingerprints. A revolver was used, so there was no shell casings. There was no witnesses. It was a Saturday in that area of town. It's kind of dead on a Saturday. And unfortunately, it was like a perfect storm. No surveillance, no witnesses, no physical evidence. And, I believe the detectives did the best they could with what they had, and unfortunately, it hasn't been enough to this point.
And the point that we're talking about all this is because this Saturday, to celebrate your father and also to celebrate Project Cold Case and raise money so that others can, because the project needs funding.
Right.
Absolutely.
You guys have a big party going on.
Yes, we have a big celebration. We're doing we're offering barbecue, beer and wine. Publix has donated some cakes to us. I mean,
at the Southern Grill right downtown.
Right.
Great restaurant, by the way. I just have to throw that plug out there. I'm there most afternoons. Just want to let you know.
They've been amazing, and this event is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So July 22nd, 3 to 10 p.m. right there on your screen, live music.
Yep, live music.
Frosty Malt Beverages.
Curtis is going to be there.
Yeah,
I'll There's a party in and of itself.
I'll
Frosty Malt Beverages and Curtis. I don't know if you know what you're getting yourself into.
We do.
Okay.
We'll have security.
Okay.
We've had plenty of parties at Southern Grill.
Absolutely.
Joey Fair out there who opened it. We're going to be there Saturday. It's going to be a great time. Thank you guys for sharing your story.
Yeah,
thank you for having us.
We really appreciate you. Best of luck with your case, obviously, and Bobby.
Thank
Best
you.
of luck going forward with everything.
Looking forward to following up.
Yes, sir. Thank
Celebration for Justice for Freddie Farah is July 22nd, 3 to 10 at Southern Grill. Might go longer. You never know. It's going to be a good time for a great cause.